G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Look, it's just lovely days. Look, I think the evenings are down around 10, 11, 12 degrees in there somewhere, and the days are mid-20s. So, look, it's just lovely working weather. You really feel like getting out and doing a bit of stuff, and you don't get the arse knocked out of you, just with the heat and things like that. So we're getting quite a bit done. It looked like a couple of showers coming over the Save, but yeah, didn't get anything out of it, so that's okay. But my mates down south, they reckon they're getting a bit at the moment, so a bit of rain. So look, we wouldn't mind, but yeah, you know, you can't change some things, so that's just it, eh? So through the week, oh look, I got a couple of knickknacks through the week. Just when I was doing the stainless steel knobs for the new lathe, I buggered up a couple of taps. Oh, just not paying attention probably. And and I also, and so I bought a new set to stay on track with that, and then I also put the exhaust manifold on the Sparex Fergie TA20 up the back, but I noticed that the two studs coming out where your elbow would be, we're putting a downswept on that, just an old one we took off the gold tractor. And yeah, the screws were buggered in there. Yeah, the housing, someone had drilled them out and put bolts, and oh, it was a mess. And actually the original one on it was all brazed up, so it's in the scrap, and I had a spare, but the spare wasn't too bad, but I knew there was a few things wrong, but I kept it. So I had to helicoil the bolt holes, and so I didn't have a 3/8 UNC helicoil set, of all things. Like, I'm surprised I didn't have one. I thought I would have done, but anyway, I had to go and buy that. So a 3/8 UNC helicoil kit, and all it is, you just screw them in. If you, most people know what a helicoil is. I didn't even film that bit. I snuck up there last week and I put the manifold on, and I'm going to put a brand new Zenith carby on that tractor. Sparex, I got one off Sparex ages ago and I hadn't used it, and boy, we sell a lot of those carbies. Carbies and inlet and exhaust manifolds, we just cannot keep up with them at the moment. The exhaust manifolds for the TEs, but the carbies, yeah, look, we're selling 2, 3, 4 a week every week, and so I've mucked around with a few of them, but I've never had one on my own tractor. And I thought, well, I've got one here. I'll put it on that little TE20, straight out of the box, and we'll run through tuning it and all that as just part of the series, just as a bit of, you know, just to do it. I sell a lot of them to people, and I can talk them through tuning it and all that, but I can probably show it a little bit better, I'm thinking, so we'll see. So I'll probably whack a new one of them on. Up there today I filmed the just putting the water pump on and the thermostat housing and all that. That's all I had time for. I was scratching my arm. It's the end of the day, and I've got to go in and have a bath yet. I'm filthy. And I've just been working on Malteaser's heart par, look, most of the afternoon. And I made a dummy crankshaft. I'll take you for a walk over there shortly. I made a dummy crankshaft at 2 inch, and I put the original Boss on. I got a real tight fit on there, and then I've remachined all the surfaces because I had indexed off the centre, but sometimes you're not 100% happy, so I did that, and I've just given it a light skim now. I made a couple of rods for the extension. I filmed just threading one of them. I often wonder, look, I'm not a machinist, I'm just a bloke that dicks around in here, but I do enjoy machining stuff and making bits and pieces, and I watch videos on people thread turning and things like that on a lathe, and everyone's into the turn your compound at 29.5 degrees, and you're only feeding one side and all that, but I'm only doing little threads. I'm not building the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I had 8 threads to do today, and I only filmed one. But the thread depth that worked for me today with some of these old threads in those front bosses was a half 13 UNC thread, and 105 thou depth of cut from touching off to going in. That's when things work nicely. And look, it's a little bit firm. When you put a new nut on, it's a little bit firm, but the bolts on the boss and all that have been in and out 500 times over their lives, it's a slightly large thread and it goes into them perfectly. So that's what I wanted. I do have to lock some nuts to screw them in. So the thread's slightly oversized, and it's how I planned it. But yeah, I have a little chart behind me here for threading, and it says, you know, about doing 8 or 9 cuts, and you know, you start off at 10 thou, then the next one's 9, then 8, then as you get deeper and deeper into the thread and the cutting area increases, you take less and less all the time. And those of you who know Bruce Witham over Perth, I watched something he was doing one day, and he was just doing it in 1 or 2, 3 cuts and just feeding it in straight in. And look, since I saw that years ago, that's all I've done too. And look, with a half 13 thread, my first cut was 50 thou. Second one, I dropped it back to 75, 75, 80 in there, wherever the dial stopped really. And then the third one was 105. And sometimes I do a clean up on the 105, but 3 cuts and I was out of there. I also put a little groove in, you know, to stop, you know, just to save me just to save me winding out quickly, because I know I'd root that up for sure. And so I went in 105 thou there with a safety groove, and then I fed towards the chuck and no trouble at all. And so but each bolt I did actually drill and put a centre in to give me rigidity out away, you know, 2 or 3 inches away from the chuck. So I did film that in one little run just to show you at the end of the stew today. And yeah, they just banged through nicely. So I had to put a miller groove. I've got a photo of it on my phone. I didn't machine the milling machine. I was trying to get it all done. Jude was coming home, and I raced in and got some veggies ready for tea, and I bolts back out again, and she come home, and I got the washing in and had tea cooked, so for when she came home on Monday or today, and yeah, so I was back and forth, and I thought, I wanted to get it done, so I didn't film that. No, I'm a bit tired, a bit yawny at the end of the day. I usually do the stew of a morning, but just today shit got out of hand. So, I've been under the boat trailer. I've been putting a couple of new rollers and a new set of springs under the boat. The old leaves were getting quite crusty, so I did that over an afternoon last week through work, and I was going to take the camera for a walk there and show you what I've been doing, but I can't. It's up there and I'm here. And so we did that, and yeah, look, just Saturday Ave. I got some friends. Well, we have friends up at Mount Perry, Pete and Renee Woodforth, and we've been on tractor runs with them and been down to the Millbong show with them and a few things like that. And Renee was putting a thing out in the morning that, it's nice waking up at Mount Perry. So I saw that, and Jude went into the shop. We got end of the financial year in Australia, it was the 30th of June. So she said, she got a bit of tidy up to do. She wouldn't mind, you know, she'd probably just whiz in for a couple of hours. And so I was, yeah, all right. So, and I was working up the back there trying to get me shit together, really, put the manifold on and all that sort of thing. And anyway, we were just talking the other day about, you know, we need to get out camping or just do something, just have a break from our humdrum. And Pete and Renee are up there, so I rang Pete and said, what are you doing? He said, putting up a little bloody temporary shed. And I said, you feel like visitors? I said, you know, because they camp on the block, there's no house. And he said, yeah, they got the caravan up there. So I said, well, how about I hook my caravan up and I'll come up and we'll spend the night, have a campfire and just get on the grog a bit and bloody have a yarn and all that. So we did that, and yeah, when we got there, there was Mick and Steph and bloody Bob and Irene and a few others, and yeah, people that I'd known. Jude hadn't met before, a few of them, but there must have been 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 or 13, 14 of us up there, something like that. And great night. Didn't get any work done. And then yesterday morning we after our camp up there, we left quite early up there, and Jude still wanted to get into the shop, so we got back late morning, I suppose it would have been. Then about lunchtime, Jude bolted into the shop for a few hours, then went around to see our daughter Adele, and so it's all it's been all go. Jude's been putting the hours in at the end of the financial year, and I'll have to do that tomorrow in Australia. Well, I don't know if all governments are the same, but look, in our little shop in town here, we got around $180,000-$90,000 worth of stock. And how the government works it is just to pick a figure. If you've got $100,000 worth of stock this year when you do your stock take, and you have to do a stock take every year, the government makes you, and then you have $130,000 worth of stock the next year, well, the government thinks that $30,000 you have on your shelf is profit. So not only do you have to buy the $30,000 worth of parts to put on your shelf, you also have to have enough money to pay 30% company tax on that. So to put 30 grand on your shelf, you've got to have an extra 10 to give to the government, to 40. So, and people whinge, oh yeah, you do, dear, this is, if people only knew what was involved, it'd be unreal. You got to turn over an awful lot of money to make a quid. By the time you have, you pay someone $60,000 a year to sell parts, and then you put your super, your 9% superannuation on top of that, and you work all the other out, and it's you got to have your staff really cracking along to come out sparkling, making a quid. And then when you make a quid, you got I like cars. I've always got pretty new cars, and I buy tools and all that to offset tax. But if you make in Australia $100,000 profit in your business, and you've got nothing to claim against, you've got to pay 30% company tax. So, so if you make 100,000 profit and you've got 100,000 in the bank, don't go spending 100,000. 30 of that has to go to the government next year. So, so that they rip it into you a bit, and just just how it is. And I'm probably only talking about it because it's on our mind. We have that coming up Tuesday, and any shares that we've bought and sold over the years, and I did do a bit of that, done me arse, so that'll help out a bit with the COVID thing, and things like that. We got to do the stock report at the end of business tomorrow. We have to tell the government how much stock we have on hand and all that sort of thing, and you do trial balances and what the customers owe us and what we got in the bank and at that moment in time. So you'd think the whole world's going to bloody freeze over or something's going to happen, but Wednesday morning, a new year, July 1, and bugger me, everyone wakes up and heads off to work and nothing's changed. So you just got to go for all the bullshit for the government. But anyway, that's business. Look, many of you will be in the same boat. I don't know how England and America work, where I've got a lot of people watch up there. So, but look, I haven't got a great deal in the stew that's going to be of interest. I do have some machining to tack on the end. I'll go handheld now and take you up to Malteaser's job there and just show you what we're doing there. I made a dummy crank and tidied bits up and made the bolts, and I've got to polish the bolts yet. It looks shitty. But look, we're not finished yet. So, but look, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for calling in and having a quick yarn or have a quick listen. And I'll take you for a walk. I better go inside and have a bloody bath, for Mum ups me with the broom for going in there dirty. But there's a bit of machining on the end of this one, and there should be a couple of videos, probably 2 coming out on the TEA 20, because I went away drinking beer and that. I just let the team down, really, didn't I? But anyway, look, thanks for dropping by again. I'll take you for a walk and we'll catch you next week. See yous. Well, this is where I've been up here buggering around doing stuff for the old Malteaser. Now, this is a bit of 3-inch 4140, and look, it's on the limit of my little lathe. It's 220 millimeters long. It's actually a little bit over, but that's okay. We've bought a 2-inch recess in here, in the end there, and that 2-inch recess is to sit over the crankshaft of the tractor. Now, I'll just slide the saddle out of the way, and what the idea is this boss here that goes onto the crankshaft of the Hart Par, we've shortened that up a little bit, and it will sit like that, and the nose of the crankshaft will sit out on this 8mm. It's just a locating recess, just to make things safer, and we have a little one at the other end. So look, that's looking okay. On my new digital readout up here, on my new lathe, that's direct reading. You move 10 thou on the cross slide and it moves 10 thou back. So if we wind that fella back out to 2 inches, well, what we did, we took a cut, we measured it, we transferred that cut up to the top line there on our x-axis, and then we kept coming out and testing all the way, testing and testing. Oh, I measured every cut I measured and just made sure it was lining up. And look, it was. So when that come out to saying 2 inches, we're exactly 2 inches. I suppose it all depends on the accuracy of your initial measurement. So my other DRO, I'm bloody sure it only ever read half. You take 5 thou reading to take 10 thou off, but this is you take 5 thou off this and it takes 5 thou off, so it's probably reading half, so which is great. I'm finding that great to use. So the next part of the Malteser's job here, I'm just having a quick look and a measure before I strip it down. My little steady here, it's on its limit. Now I had to actually undo all the locating screws and pull them out to get it in, then sit a dial gauge up and tap it in until I got it true, and then lock these screws in place. So it's a boy doing a man's job, but look, it looks like it's okay. I'll have another couple of measures before I take it out, and what the plan is, I've got some bolts to make for it now, some 4 long bolts, through bolts to hold it all together. But what the plan is now is I'm going to get a bit of steel and I'm going to turn down a 2-inch dummy crankshaft snout, and I'm going to slide this fella on, and then I'm going to just make sure this is true. I indicated it off inside here, but look, I've been thinking about it, and by the time you take a measurement at the front here, and there's around 5 thou difference to the measurement at the back here on this shaft. So I think what we'll do to check that we are true is, in the chuck here, we'll turn up a dummy 2-inch crankshaft snout. We'll fit this, then we'll skim it true, and well, actually I might make the bolts first. If I make the bolts first, I can actually bolt the whole rotating assembly together without having to take it out to make the bolts. So I think I'll make the bolts. So when you have a look here, there's 4 bolts we have to make. I think Malteaser got 4140 for that too, I'm not sure. He's given me the steel there, and the bolts are about 270 long, I think 290 long, and so this bolts to the crankshaft of the tractor, then this piece sits in the middle of it, and then the piece over the back there, that bolts on then, so you can actually crank the engine without fear of skinning your knuckles. So but it is important to have that running true. So if I make the bolts, make a dummy crank, sit this on, make sure this is all skimmed true, and we should be able to slowly build the stack and test it in the lathe here to make sure we're true. So anyway, I'll get in and I'll make a few bolts, I reckon. So I've just taken the steady off, and I've got a bird playing in the bloody Jude's got a little flowering basket of plants outside, and there's a bird up in there. So, but yeah, look, I've just pulled the steady off, and just to see what run out we have. Hang on, I'll just try and find that to line up with a number. Yep. And look, that's fine. So if we have this true to the rest of it here, we should be okay. I also did a run on the main frame of the. I'll see if I can pop this down again. Where I had to actually machine a little piece for the steady to go. I'll see if I can swing you across. I'm hitting the frame here. But yeah, where we machined to put the steady, we're still in place even with the steady gone, and we're about, might be half a thou movement there maybe. So I'm pretty sure nothing moved in the whole setup. Now when we come back up here to where we haven't machined for the steady, I'll just drop that right on 50 thou there. And so there was around 5 thou run out there. So when we bring him down this end right near the chuck, there's a little bit of paper there still which we can discard, but yeah, look, we're not even 1 thou from one side of the paper to the other. So I'm pretty sure this is going to run nice and true. I'm pleased I've machined this part true and correct. So yeah, we'll get the next bit underway. Well, I'm over here on the lathe doing these bolts for the old Malteaser, and I thought I'd just do one end for you, let you know how we're doing it and all that sort of thing. So anyway, we'll get stuck in and see how we go. So that's just tidying up the end a little bit. Now we want to come up here 1 inch, 25mm. So I just zero it out from that last cut. Bring him in. And the thread's 105 thou deep, so I'm going to part it in 105 thou from where we touch off. Right, pop a little chamfer on the front end here. Then I'm using a carbide threading tool, so we're not buggering around with the 29 degrees. We're just putting a centre up the end of it and jumping straight in. Pop him back, make sure there's no rubbish up the hole. Pop my extended nose centre in. bring them out a fair way so we've got room to get all our carriage movement that we'd like. Lock him in. Pop the threading tool in, we're locking it down to low. And look, we're doing it at 160 RPM, so we're just going to come in and touch off. And the total depth of thread that works best, it's a half 13 thread. And yeah, I've mucked around, it's supposed to be 97th, things like that. 105 works nice for what we're doing. So we'll pop a bit of black tack around there. I've done a couple before, so no need to do a scratch pass. We're going to drop in at 50 thou straight up. I'm just turning it off between actions just so I can tell you what I'm doing. Okay, next cut 75. Oh, went a bit far. Okay. That's just firm. And the threads that we're working it into, in the front housing of the old hard part, they're a bit sloppy. So I'm finding that this thread here, even if it's a half UNC nut, it's a little firm, and that's how I want it. I like that. So that's it. 3 or 4 passes, we have a thread done. Turn him round and away we go again. I had to machine a groove. If I swing you around here, and that is where the keyway is in the shaft. It probably should be in the middle here, but I'm just got my dummy crankshaft there. And to get that shaft set up, I had to get little bits of, put cardboard down, then put bits of bar stock there, then my triangles to get it at about 250 mil up to cut the keyway. So I've got to clean all that up. I won't be doing it tonight, I'll do that tomorrow, Arvo. Now this little piece down here, that's the dummy crankshaft I made out of a bit of scrap. It's a very snug fit on there. Like I'm there's no key or no Loctite or anything. Now this piece here has a step, an 8mm step, so that's a snug fit on a 2-inch crankshaft. So we're just looking so it doesn't run out. So I made the crankshaft, then pushed this on, and I had to use the tailstock to push it on, and then I just re-skimmed the surfaces to make sure we're true, and then we have this set up here. Now I'm in the process of fitting they're the bolts I made, the long bolts, and what we're looking at doing now is nipping up these bolts and getting rid of this gap here, so we know that this is brought forward as far as it can go, and this surface here and this surface here are both touching each other, and I've got to make sure that it's concentric all the way, and because this is hanging off the front of a crankshaft, and so we don't want it wobbling around like a cock in a sock. So once we get it all bolted up, there's a spigot in there. Oh, you can't really see that. And there's a spigot in there to keep this front bit, but I will say that the tailstock there to hold a bit of tension, I've just got a 1, 2, 3 block which is holding a bit of tension against the whole show. Then we'll nip these up, and if it looks like it's running fairly good, I think this has been machined wrong in the past. You can see where I did a light skim and we're touching one side and not the other. So I'll try and tidy that up if I can, and being concentric to the crank and all this bolting down with our surfaces there, we should be good. But anyway, we'll swing across. I'll show you a bit of me doing my threads, my deep doing the threads in 3 cuts, and look, they're fine. They're I probably need a washer because we're coming close to this step in there, but the threads are good, holding one. So there's no movement there. That's lovely. That's as good as you'd expect a bloody old tractor mechanic to do anyway. But I think I'm going to put a spring washer under there to get this nut to clear that housing, where all the rest of them around we don't need to worry about. So yeah, that's just an interesting little job I'm doing for the Malteaser. Should be done soon. We're still waiting on rings for the Heart Par, but yeah, just an interesting little job. He's got a lathe now. He bought my old lathe, so I was telling him today I should be showing him how to cut these threads, and instead of me buggering around with it, he could do it all himself. Make himself handy. Alright, we'll catch you all later, eh?